इमां धम्मानुधम्मपटिपन्नया बुद्धं पूजे धम्मं पूजे संघं पूजे। I worship the Buddha, the Dhamma and the Sangha by practicing Dhamma in accordance with the teachings of the Buddha. May this humble offering be accepted. We have been discussing about how to get established in the अनात्ता संज्ञा, उसके विभिन्न आयाम किस तरह से हमारी कॉन्शियस एफर्ट के बगैर ही बड़ी स्टेल्थीली the atta bhav enters into our life. That's what we have been discussing. And the last time yesterday we mentioned about looking at the two examples, one unwholesome activity, another wholesome activity, and how the notion of self creeps in quite surreptitiously into our discourse and then into our life. So, अप्रिय परिस्थिति में अप्रिय वेदना के प्रति द्वेष जाग गया, तो एक तो द्वेष जागा, हम उसके प्रति नाराज हो रहे हैं, उसके प्रति अपने प्रति बुरा कह रहे हैं, मुझ में अभी भी राग है, मुझ में अभी भी द्वेष है, इतने साल हो गए साधना करते हुए. So we are trying to take that personally and we think that is a very responsible thing to do. The other extreme that we say no, अनात्मा है, कोई बात नहीं, कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता, मैंने देख लिया, यही बहुत है. And then even if I react to that on that anger, I say गुस्से का रिएक्शन है, मैंने तो कुछ नहीं किया है. That becomes another extreme of the behavior. And of course, all sankharas are conditioned, but we have a responsibility of following the ethical behavior. If you don't follow ethical principles, the consequences will follow, both in society as well as in our own personal life, in terms of the stream of consciousness. It will get more and more defiled. But then, while we are working with the conventional reality perspective, we also keep the ultimate reality perspective in mind. And I gave the example of jails yesterday as to how we try to personalize the activities of others. वो तो ऐसा ही है, वो तो ऐसा ही करता है, वो हमेशा झूठी बोलता है, वो हमेशा मेरे को नीचा दिखाना चाहता है. These kind of thoughts and these perceptions we form, and without realizing कि उस process में हम दूसरे को पर्सनलाइज कर रहे हैं, उसके बिहेवियर को पर्सनलाइज कर रहे हैं. सो depersonalizing the behavior is a very important aspect of understanding anatta and not getting trapped in the atta bhav. Because कई बार हम सोचते हैं हम दूसरे के बारे में कह रहे हैं, मेरे में कोई अत्ता भाव नहीं है. It doesn't happen like that, you see. Once we do that for others, it automatically happens for us. It automatically arises. Then we also saw another method of understanding it through interdependence. This was through dependent origination, and we try to. I read out a poem जिसमें ये बात समझाने का प्रयास किया गया था that we are all interconnected. जैसे एक पेड़ का एक भी पत्ता अगर पीला पड़ता है तो बाकी पत्तों ने भी एक साइलेंट कंसेंट दी है. तो इसी तरह समाज में अगर कुछ लोग या एक आदमी भी हमारे सोसाइटी में, हमारे जानने वालों में he drops out of the society and does things wrong thing doing, somewhere we are also responsible. So that's a very powerful statement, you know. When one of you falls down, he falls for those behind him, a caution against the stumbling stone. And yea, he falls for those ahead of him, who though faster and surer of foot, yet removed not the stumbling stone. हमने कुछ किया नहीं दूसरों के जीवन से इस तरह की परिस्थिति को हटाने के लिए या उनको इस तरह से इक्विप करने के लिए. And this can apply to anything. Person doing unwholesome action, it can apply to wholesome action. I gave the example of social service. किस तरह से sense of self उसमें बढ़ सकती है और people can become highly egotistic, bitter, angry. खासतौर पर जो एक्टिविस्ट हैं उनको हमने देखा है कभी नजदीक से, how much their sense of self gets inflated and how much bitter and even hatred they develop towards the apparent perpetrators of the injustice or the problems in the society. Now, both these examples, these situations have a deep connection with the notion of doership. So if you want to penetrate these activities more deeply, the crux of it lies in our taking up the doership activity. Karta bhav aa jata hai. And it seems so obvious. मैं ही तो दान कर रहा हूँ, मैं ही तो शील का पालन कर रहा हूँ, मैं ही तो उपोषित कर रहा हूँ, मैं ही तो सेवा कर रहा हूँ, उसमें क्या डाउट है? तो ऑब्वियसली मेरे दान के कारण लाभ हो रहा है तो आई मस्ट गेट क्रेडिट फॉर इट. अगर मेरी सेवा के कारण लोगों की सेवा हो रही है, मैं कुछ हेल्प कर रहा हूँ गरीबों की, बीमारों की, तो आई मस्ट गेट क्रेडिट फॉर इट. आई मस्ट बी and if I get praise, I deserve it, of course. So again, this can be looked at from two perspectives, and I'm just using it as an example ताकि हम conventional perspective and ultimate perspective को देख पाएं, ताकि हम conventional perspective को respect करते हुए ultimate perspective को भी ध्यान में रखते हुए उसके हिसाब से अपने actions करें. Then really we can save ourselves from this kind of arising of self and getting caught in the atta bhav. And I've been using this when I was teaching in IIT, these courses of that science and humanism and technology, human values. This was one of the very common things which I used to discuss with the students, and probably the same example could be applied. So I would ask them that you got through JEE and obviously you've done good work. So what do you think? All the credit for this passing JEE goes to you? Of course, we wrote the exam and we passed it. But then look at it more carefully. Look at it more carefully. Even such a directly evident personal action, large number of people contributed to your success, and I will draw their attention to the teachers, to your coaching, to your parents, to the persons who help you to transport from your home to this place for writing the exam, and so many things. The person who gives you brought good food for you, the people who make pens so that the pens are reliable. All these people in their own subtle way, in their own imperceptible way, but very crucial, very, very crucial. If you get delayed in reaching the examination center by half an hour, you're finished. No chance. So we have to appreciate. I mean, at a very conventional level, we can understand that we are deeply interconnected, and that for success of any activity, though it may appear I am the sole person responsible, it's not so. If you use Yoniso Manasikara, it's always number of causes, conditions giving rise to number of results and effects. This is what the Buddha teaches us again and again, and this is true of everything. Not just in Dhamma field, it's true in our day-to-day field also. The only thing is you have to really look it more carefully. not superficially. Especially when you do projects, for example, as IIT people, we did quite a few big projects. A large number of people were involved in it. And sometimes we know I got more, have been putting the more effort. Others so ऐसे add-ons थे, थोड़ा कुछ कर दिया. But if you look at it very, very deeply, you have to see how the group dynamics works. It may be true that I might have contributed more than X, might have contributed more than Y and Z, but all of them contribute according to their capability, according to their availability, and they're all constrained by various conditions. When we form a group and you work together, we work according to our own capacities. You decided to work together joyfully for a particular objective. So if you start to put up a tarazu and wager किसने कितना किया, बहुत मुश्किल हो जाएगी. Then it doesn't work that way. And then, of course, on the other hand, there can be, mock humility. Yeah, of course, I recognize people have done work, but in my heart, I know that I did the more work, and I should get more credit for it. So rather than a genuine appreciation of interdependence, we have a mock kind of appreciation. ठीक है, which actually is painful. Actually, it's better not to do that. And this also manifests in the terms of when we recall our past achievements or life story with ego, with pride, or with self-condemnation, that failures. All that is what is really upadhi. But Buddha again and again tells us upadhi. Our assets ban gaye. And we are told sab upadhi patani saggo. Leave aside all such assets, leave aside all such ways by which you identify and glorify you. So that's just a conventional way of looking at it. You can also see the ultimate reality perspective. Well, we always chant every day, Sannya-anatta, Sankhara-anatta. What does it mean? What are my abilities? If I am intelligent, or if I have a good activity in sports, I have ability in music or arts or whatever, do these abilities really belong to me? Am I really responsible for all of them? And that needs a deeper reflection, really. They are all part of sankharas or sanya. If I am intelligent, it is a panya sankhara, amoha sankhara. If I have certain abilities which I have developed, it's because of virya, effort, and so on, many other things. They're all anatta. We are all constantly chanting it. Then what does it mean? They're all conditioned arising. They're not mine. Okay, how do you say they're not mine? I'm born, I was intelligent. Yeah, you were born intelligent. In comparison with your sibling, you were born more intelligent. So you did this, he did something else. So how did you get born intelligent? You carried certain karmas. There was a stream of consciousness. And who made sure that you got this more intelligence? Was it a fluke? It's the karmic ancestors. The stream of consciousness has been manifesting for thousands and hundreds of thousands times. It must have manifested. So many people must have been contributed positively or negatively to the latent tendencies carried on forward by the stream of consciousness. So, if I am more intelligent, I should be grateful to all my karmic ancestors. It's not personal activity. It's not a personal ability. If I have any specific ability, it's because my karmic ancestors do good work. If I am able to do study Dhamma and help others understand Dhamma, it's because I must be grateful to all of them. Of course, to my present teachers and them, but also to all of them, because that's how I could do it. Otherwise, how did I know? So that's the ultimate reality perspective so as to bring out, because we chant it every day, Sanya Anatta, Sankhara Anatta, and so on. Vinyanam Anatta. So what does it mean? An interesting example which I often would use with and raise quite a few eyebrows in the class would be, because there will be girl students, I'll tell them, well, when somebody gets a Miss Universe prize and all that, what is her contribution in getting Miss Universe? No, sir, she does all kinds of practice, this, that. Yeah, but her beauty, is she responsible for her beauty? In conventional sense, it is her parents who are responsible. So if somebody is chosen Miss Universe, her parents should be honored and respected if that is to be done. And then, of course, they get confused and say, no, that's not this, that's not it. But what about the ultimate reality perspective? It's again the karmic ancestors. Buddha tells us again and again, what is it that gives a beauty in the shape? What is it that makes person not so beautiful? There are karmic reasons for it. If one has practiced metta, if one is not angry, if one doesn't give rise to hurt and anger and hatred, then the complexion is better. So maybe according to the ultimate reality perspective, in that karmic stream of that young woman, the people who were there in the past, they exhibited those qualities, and that's how it manifested in the form of a beautiful face, a beautiful body. So in the ultimate reality perspective, I should be grateful for all my abilities to the karmic ancestor for whatever abilities I have. They are not personal abilities, really. And then if I have inculcated and cultivated them, again, it was possible because of certain conditions. Because which were created, my family, my surroundings, my teachers, my friends. So when you reflect in that manner, we can see this pride and sense of personal achievements, and which eventually reflect in the form of Vatta Bhava, they tend to fall down. So that's how the sense of doership is really handled and could be handled. And because the feeling of Karta Bhava, I am the doer, and therefore there's the sense of self, which is very strong, has to be worked at both the levels, and we should really see. If you don't do that, if you're not cognizant of all these things, and we think it's all you, there's no need to bother about it, it'll happen automatically, just by bare observation, things will go on. It's very tough. It's very tough. We have to really, even if we understand the nature of reality intellectually, we understand that, and we chant it, Rupam Anatta, Vedana Anatta, Sanya Anatta, Sankhara Anatta, Vinyanam Anatta. We have to live accordingly. Then only it will become Anatta and will come into our life. And these are some suggestions for that purpose, really. How we could really live up to these basic chantings which we do. So stop here. You can meditate till 8:15 and reflect on what I've said. See if it gives rise to certain questions. Please feel free to send it to me. May we all be able to get established in the truth of Anatta.